he gets situated. Always so annoying setting this all up. If I just was sitting at a desk, or the desk, instead of using a TV, it'd probably be that bad, to be honest. Okay, I'm here. Let's see what's going on. So, let's go here. Okay. What is this? What is this crap? Oh, don't care. Don't care.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Nothing's really happened, and I've already kind of updated, so I don't really know why I'm even doing this, but we can go over, if anyone's in here, and people will probably come in sooner or later, and we can go over some of the specifics. Do this, I think we do this. I believe if we do this correctly, it's always hard to tell, to be honest. Actually, I can do this, right? And then if I move this here, as long as I don't have this there. Awesome. Okay. Oops. Move it down a smidge. Actually, I think that's fine. Whatever. It's close enough. I really don't care. I mean, we'll just wait for the candle change until someone comes in and says something, and what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to play the last two videos that I had from before, so, because there's not really anything, like, super new for me to say. We're just really, I guess, checking this. I already kind of, there's nothing that I'm looking for that I haven't already mentioned. Let's go here. Scroll it down. We got what for today? Just got up. I just wanted to give a quick update. There's not really much more copium going on for me. I do think this is still a great position to enter. Personally, I think it's probably better to exit at this point. And one of my biggest concerns is one, that we haven't pushed up, and two, that over. So some of those questions or says something, I'll respond. Until then, I'm just gonna have this going. And I'm just going to be chilling, looking at something on my phone, so, because there's no point me saying the same exact thing. But I still think it's better to get out here. Technically, still what we're talking about, like I said, the entry point either would have been here when it first opened, or more specifically when it came down right to this area. So it was only like maybe a $30 difference. So there's a high chance it's going to come down probably before this finishes. But what I really don't like is we can see over here on the left, this is the 2 hour, and what we'll see here on the right is the 4 hour. And this is what I really don't like when we see this here. And I think this, honestly, right on video right here, it might come down, which is pretty tragic. Especially when you're trying to make a video about something, you just kind of get up. So where it technically is, it's like a no-loss trade, but we would really smack down here. We might even see it right on video. We're really going to come down here. It looks really bad. So, I mean, there's a lot of TA that didn't really get paid attention to. That was fine. I thought was the last chance for this drilling was most likely on this one, I believe, when we finally did come down. I mean, I was up last night for a little bit of this here and there in chat, but I mean, there's going to be so much copium. And so this is when I really kind of got sketched out, because we not only fell under this. Okay, so like we can just pretty much do the 2 hour here real quick. And this could go up, it's possible. I just don't like it because we can kind of see a left shoulder ahead, and then we can almost say this is kind of like a right shoulder that's not higher than the left, so it's almost beckons us to come down. And this is, you know, we don't want to break past this point. This was the really good initial 5 point. Nothing's changed so far. I'll get to the VIX and the other things that I've said in the other videos just to kind of get over that. I kind of almost want to get this out as quick as possible. So I think I might just do that, this, and then I might just
separate update and update this too. I think I'm just going to do that. But to me, I don't like this anymore. I didn't like the fact that the whole week, we should have pushed it up in a lot of places. I could kind of understand keeping it there. There's almost, at this point, it almost seems kind of sketchy in a sense because it could be like if the market's going to push stuff up when the market comes out, then the market's going to push stuff up, and it's really seeming sketchy to stay in at this point if the market's going to push us up. So the initial assumption was on the day we could see. I mean, I'm still right about the buy point, and I still didn't mind it. It's just a little unfortunate. I mean, we can just see it's a really nice buy point, but once we break here, we're essentially coming all the way back down here, and then we break trend, which is nice, and then we're essentially fighting to be on the bottom side, which will make it pretty interesting to see where we start on the VIX and where Apple starts. I think that'll be pretty interesting tomorrow. So it looks like it's fighting a little bit now, which is good. I hope it lasts. Maybe we create a right shoulder here on something more like what is this, like I think it's the 4 hour over here. So maybe we do over time, but this doesn't seem like the place to be in it. The fact it's not going along with standard TA is also kind of a big issue here. It was fine to be negligible, but now that we're already back here and we technically broke trend on the day, and most likely on the, like if I was looking at this on a day time frame, I wouldn't want to be in here anymore whatsoever at all, because we have a lower low here, and this was supposed to be a base. So like this would have to do a lot. I'd have to pretty much see us push all the way up to 20,255 and then end up here, and then I would try to take a position. But even then, I would be a little bit sketched just because we do have a lower low here than there. So I do think it's going to get, I mean, it's hard to say, but for me, this is what I feel, and this is what I would be doing. So just as much as I felt strong about this as an entry point, a little bit waiting to see if it comes down, and this being a really nice entry point, this is just one of those things that if I was in, it would just be a no, it would be, I mean, I'd be barely up, but more or less it would be a no-loss trade right now. Slightly up, but more or less a no-loss trade. And for me, that's something I am perfectly fine with at this point, with some of these things. And that's the way I like to, when I have messed with Bitcoin in the past, that is, or even was talking about, this is the way that I like to go about it if it's a really big movement like this. Because I've seen times before where it does stuff similar to this and it just shoots up. Now, I don't think that'll happen here because we've seen so much of a, not just a break-in trend, but we've seen a, like, convergence of what I was saying with the 2 and the 4. And until we're back above the 2 and the 4, which are almost at the same spot, the 2 is at 2008, the 4 is now at 2015, so they're just about the same spot right now. So that's a little bit of a yikes. And we can see it hitting right up here, where it hits here also, and that's when this is 2006 on the right, and then we have what, 2006 on the left, and then we have.
Yo, what's up, D-Trader? Yo, what's up, D-Trader? I hope you're doing well. I'm just chilling right now. Nothing's really changed from the ideas that I put out earlier, so I'm just like kind of playing those until someone comes in if anyone has a question. Otherwise, it's like it's just me repeating what I said earlier. So it just seems to be the most obvious. I think I skipped to the VIX at some point. Yeah, I mean this is from earlier today. I don't know if you realize that though. I mean it's probably honestly like it's probably hard to actually like tell, to be honest. My bad. I should make that clear. It's pretty hard to tell. I mean we're already like here. So like this was when we were, I don't know, this was like from 10 or something, or I think this was from like, this was like before 12 o'clock my time. So we've already got 2 other 4-hour candles here. So I just did, you know what I mean? There's nothing for me to say, or there's nothing that's really changed from when I made the 2 ideas. So it's like there's just nothing for me to really add. So I figured instead of me talking, I just play something of what I talked about earlier, unless someone has like a question about something else. So, I see. Yeah. I mean, I think it looks bad, so, I mean, yeah, I put out an idea earlier that just said, like, it pretty much just looked bad, so, I mean, nothing, it's probably the worst out of all of them. This is probably a little bit more accurate, or, like, to the point. Where is it? Yeah, so we'll see with the volatility index, but I think a lot of this stuff is probably going to come down pretty hard tomorrow.
think could happen is we start here, and then we'd essentially just continue our position over a day or two.
There, I'm not doing this. This is too much work. Here, I can just do this a little bit easier. But yeah, for the VIX, pretty much, it almost looks like for certain. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm still hoping for the VIX we start somewhere around this area. So I think anywhere around here is fine. I guess it really may not matter too much, but I'm just really hoping for the VIX that we at least start somewhere around this area instead of doing this crap where we start all the way up. Everything looks so bad, but that's just like, it just seems to be the most assured way that stuff actually drops instead of having this stupid crap where it's like, just fighting on the edge. So hopefully we get something like there, and then, just positioning, and then whenever it starts up here, I don't know whenever it starts up here, if it does, well, there will be enough time. I really hope it doesn't just start up here, though. So, it should shoot up. So, it should shoot up pretty well. They've been holding it. Like, we can pretty much just see from here. Like, I guess, like, it's added context with the holes, but even without it, like, we can just pretty much see they're like just holding it super hard here. So like we got our month and our week time frame bounce all the way down here, like right under 20, and then right. So we like, it's just horrible. Like we start too high, and then we just run right to resistance before the market opens. We start too low, and then it just does what it does. Now we start under it. So I just want to see something that actually starts above in this area. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. But that's kind of what I'm hoping. Everything looks pretty bad anyway, and then based on where Apple starts, it'll be pretty easy to see what's going to happen, I believe, anyway. It's like there was kind of three possibilities based on what Bitcoin was going to do, and it did the worst out of all of them, which was pretty much do nothing and then just get pushed down. So it's kind of hard to imagine that the market opens. So for me, I'm pretty much just looking for Apple where this starts. I have a really strong feeling, and it's like just for the sake of things looking good, I still really want the VIX opens before the pre-market does. It opens at like 3 something, I think 3 or 310. But I just really hope that we start in a nice spot. And if we start in a nice spot on the VIX, that'll look good. But I'm pretty sure Apple's going to start under the week time frame and just immediately push down. That's the feeling I get anyway. I thought, we'll see though. Like for me, this is like we'll start above the 4, we'll push up, probably a bull trap, and then we'll come back down. So this does give the chance to come up. There's just so many places. There's here, there's obviously this, there's another line right around here, and then we have another average here, and then we have the one all the way up here. So there's so much going against it if it pushes up. But whatchamacallit, I just have a feeling, like I like this the most, but looking at where Bitcoin is, just because this doesn't get a lot of room, like we're right above support, but pretty much, no, I trade based on well, yeah, he trades on, yeah, I don't know, maybe, I don't know who said that, but, yeah, but it's, I'm not going to get into semantics, but I know what you're saying. I don't know if that's really true, though, to be honest, either, whatchamacallit, anyway. Sometimes well, I'm not going to get into it. I think it's obvious. But anyway, like if we start down here, and then whatchamacallit, yeah. Whatchamacallit. But if we start down here, most likely we just put straight down. I think it kind of depends how far down we start. But I think anywhere in this area just looks good to just keep pushing down. And then we kind of enter what's really sketchy for a lot of this stuff. And like the one place we really can't go back to is all the way back here. Because most likely at this point we'll just fall under and then go to where we never went before, which was the 122 down here. And then most of like this is Apple, so the market will just come down with it. If Apple gets down to here, I don't know where Bitcoin goes with this, but even like Bitcoin just needs the market to fall to drop. It doesn't, like at most, if by the time Apple gets here, if it does, Bitcoin should be at 10 to 11K. And if we keep going down, I don't know how bad it'll be, but I just don't have I'm going to be honest, I have like very little confidence in Bitcoin, especially with like all the trading that people have done in it. Or like all the leveraging and the margin calls and all that. But we'll see what happens with it. So, I mean, it might be red for what's the virus? It might be red just straight from the get go. Like we'll see when stuff opens. Oh yeah, I mean, this is the core of my trading. I mean, this is like the core of everything. Like everything I look at, like when a market opens, I look at Apple. If you go to some of my streams, I only look at Apple most of the time, and I'll check the other ones. So like I'll check the Nasdaq to see what's going on with them, just to kind of see what averages are around here. But for the most part, Apple controls almost everything, or at least it's the easiest way to see what's going on with everything. But once the market opens, I prefer to see what Apple. I like to see. So for me, it's an order of this. The first thing I look at is the VIX, and I go like this. Okay, I want to see a start for the week because we're gonna have a new week. Obviously, these are the lines, so we can just see where they are already. We either start bullish. I mean, this is super bullish. So when I say, I'll say this: super bearish for the market, possibility of like a bull trap, but we still go up a little bit. And then this is super bullish, but I don't see this happening. This is like a 0% chance at this point that we start down here. Most likely we start in this area. So at this point, I think it's even more likely that we just start at the top of this range. Now, I don't want to see that because we did it again here, right? On this one, we did it here, pushed right into the day averages we had, and it just gets wrecked down. So it's not too much for me to ask, I feel like, to just say, God damn it, can the VIX just start in this area, And then it just looks really good because, then we actually look like we have strength here. So when we push up and do something here, everyone's going to it's just going to go. That's just how it's going to be. So like the best thing they could hope, in my opinion, for like we could still go up. And I'll say this first: the chances of us starting here, for my opinion, now are zero. Looking at Bitcoin, the chances of the VIX starting here are probably like 5%. The chances of it starting within this range is probably like 80%. And annoyingly enough, I really hope it doesn't. It could start all the way up here. Maybe like a 10-15% chance up there, or like a 10-15% chance. So like a 585 or like a 580-85 and like a 10-15. Well, if you think about Apple, it's weighted in everything, right? So Apple is on the S&P. I'm pretty sure it's on the Dow. You have it on the Nasdaq, and it's the largest market cap company in all of the world. So just from that standpoint, it makes sense that it's a stable stock most people would mess with, and because it's so heavily weighted in indices and ETFs alike, that when that has a big change in price, it's just a part of everything else. So it's not necessarily that Apple affects Bitcoin; it's that the stock market affects Bitcoin. But it's the idea that we can even further look at that down, knowing kind of what range the VIX is in, and then kind of already knowing more or less where we might get deviations from the Nasdaq and the SPY. We can then kind of just know where those are and then just focus on Apple. So it's not something I'm really like going to go too much more in depth in because I go over it every single stream, and it's something like it just kind of is what it is. So you know what I mean? But when you look at it from the perspective I said that it's so weighted in everything, it makes sense. It's a part of everything. So when that moves, it moves everything. And it makes sense that other people would look at the most weighted. Like that's the kind of idea when you look at an indice, right? You want something that's going to represent everything. And Apple has a big representation in all the big indices and a bunch of ETFs. So from that perspective, it just makes sense. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's just kind of the way it is. So, Now I don't just look at Apple. That's the thing. I'll look at like I said, I always look at the VIX first, and then I'll just get an idea. Like I don't need to look at this. Like most of this stuff, I don't like. It's just kind of going over. Like for me, there's nothing that's changed. Like doing trading on my own, I'd take 10 million times less. Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting for me personally. I'll trade whatever. It doesn't matter. But I'm still going to look at these as my basis for everything else. So, like, Tesla has been going a little bit different than the market. It has been going pretty well. I don't know what Netflix been doing recently. I don't know what SQ. You're talking about the QQQs? I don't know what SQQQ is. But, I mean, I don't know where. We'll have to see where this stuff starts. But I mean, I look at all of these, and it's like, you know what I mean? So I don't really care about the DXY personally. In my opinion, I feel like it's more of a reactive, like a lagging indicator, or more like a reactionary kind of thing. Because when the market gets sold down, then generally right now it's going up. Obviously, there's other things. Oh man, there's a lot of people come saying stuff. I can talk about. I don't have anything specific on semiconductors right now. QQQ is S7P. I don't know what I have to see. I have to see whatchamacallit, what TQQ is. I don't know what TQQ and SQQ is. I mean, I could look at it and see. It doesn't really matter. Um, let me see. Let me just kind of go through all these. But this is just the way I do it. Like I said, you can kind of go back to the streams or the other things. But you'll see a lot of the times based on where Apple is, you'll see a lot of other things follow. Now, there are certain times when Apple's just not near averages that I like, and usually that's when I'll go and look at what we have for some of these other ones. Like on some of these other days, here, we can just bring it up. I should just make a video of it, though, one of these times, and that kind of simplifies it. But we can go Apple, like NASDAQ, Apple 4. Let me just do those. This is not the 4. Okay, there we go. Boom, boom. So we can kind of look at some of these. So I was looking at a couple of these each time. We can see we come down here where we end above, and we pushed up on these other ones. We can see this here, and then we can also see on the spot we have a similar thing here. This is when we went into the reversal. I looked at Apple after this, the next day after. You can always check the September 2nd stream. But this is kind of where we ran into the issue. There's like a 1 hour average here, and we have our daytime, and we pretty much got bought up at the 1 hour, and then we just pushed through. So then I just looked at this, and this looked bad because everything that we were doing. Well, let me do this real quick. It's a little bit easier. So we just kind of put this here as a representation where the line is, and we just go on the 1 hour and just see for this. So you can pretty much see on the 1 hour here, these are just the averages I use, so it just is what it is. But we can see that we should be coming down here. This is where we want to see. We even look at it from a gap close perspective. I mean, I guess it's not really that much different either. But we can see that we just waste so much time up here, pretty much doing nothing. Well, I lost the area, but pretty much doing nothing, and then we just bust down through everything. So this was something that I was using for that, and then a lot of the recent stuff. I was looking for a 4 hour. We look here, we got our 4 hour averages. So I was looking for one that started above it. This started 1 cent above it. It's just that it pushed up so much, you know. So this started above it. I was a little concerned about it though because it did start under where I wanted it to. Because we started under this, and we can see, I'm not going to go back to it, but you can see some fighting right here in the morning on that day. But we did start above it, and we got our start above, then we pushed up, and we can kind of just see over here what happened. We have this here, right? And so there's nothing really here on the NASDAQ, but we go over here, we can just see this up here. And this is like where I took that one short, or not short, the put position at 164.10. You know, now we're all the way kind of like down here. And then for here, we're just looking at Apple. We just came back into the 4s here. So the same thing, we're just looking for, are we going to end up here? Or I'm sorry, are we going to start up here, or are we going to start under? So we had this happen, bounced out the 4, boom, but then we started under. So it makes sense that we push down from here in that sense. So Apple's not always near averages, but I usually, for me, it's just something that I do, and I like looking at the averages for it. It seems to give me an easier idea. So I do like, so there was like this. So if we do kind of check Apple here, there was where we can see a nice reversal in a sense where we come under and then we start above, boom. But we could also see this here. So this is also something that I was looking at. Like I said, I don't know. It only helps so much to go back to the streams because they're all like 7 hours long. But I mean, if we looked at, I don't know, you have to check the time frame. That'd be the easiest to go and see. But so for this one, it looked decent. But for me, the determining factor was like Apple on this. I saw this on both. But when I saw this, it made sense that we're going to push up. So, you know, we had a reversal, and then we came back down because we had an issue here. We were waiting for it to get something. This is the end above. We wanted to start above, so we get a start above. Boom, we go up to the day time frame. We also had the week time frame up here also as well, which is what we hit in the pre-market. Whoops. God damn it. Okay, good. I thought it was a minute in. Watch the last minute currently. I'm just oh my god. And so we'll just do this video. Where is this coming from? Candle minute change. We can do. Oh, there we go. Okay. I knew I just started a video somewhere. Anyway, so, you know, now with that position up there, we can go do this. I think we have like this up here, right? We can even see. Let's go here. And then I'll look at the other ones in a second. stuff. Here, if this adjusts me again, I'm going to be so annoyed. This is the one thing I hate about TradingView. It doesn't keep my place. But yeah, we can see this is the week time frame all the way up there, so we can see in pre-market. Post-market pushes us. Pre-market, we push up, boom, 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 get shut down. So, I mean, there's probably other stuff that would show it in other places also as well. But for me, this is just kind of like the easier way for me to get a feeling on these kind of things. So, and then we have like April. We had the February 24th. This February 24th. It's kind of hard to see. I don't even know if I can go back, but there's a 4-hour average that cut through it here. You can see short-term support on that, and then we could also see support on this. I don't think we can go back that far. But where's let's go to the 4-hour first. We can see we pretty much we get short. Like you can't see it on the 4, and I can't go low enough because it's like a 2. But we pretty much start all the way down here, and then we get short-term support, and that was like a pretty straightforward buy. And then we also got something up here, but I think you have to see it on the 15-minute. I don't know if I should be able to get the data back there. What is this, June? I don't remember honestly where it is. September 24th. There we go. So we can also just kind of see this here. Boom, boom, up above. Looks nice. Doesn't get a single start under, and we just lift off from there. So and then we could also check like Bitcoin, around these times. There's no real point because you should already. I mean, you already know the dates and all those kind of things because they were so impactful. But yeah, so for me, it's just a little bit easier to kind of go about it in that way. Did we start under finally or no? Yeah, so we finally got another start under. So pretty much in the bear's court. We'll see what happens with the market, but it is in a position if the market looks bad currently. And I'll bring up chat in a second. My bad. But if like the reason why I point out Apple and all this other stuff because it makes it a lot easier to look at that. Because if your other thing looks good, and like if I don't know, like obviously you can see the SPY on other things. Like just to kind of get through this, like you can see on the SPY, like on the week time frame, we can see some of this up here that looks sketchy. We can also see like things on Dow that also look sketchy on it as well, up near its averages and all that kind of crap. So there are always different things that can show you. But after I kind of get an idea of where these long-term trends are, this is why I kind of like looking at Apple. It makes it a little bit easier for me personally. But us starting back up here again is pretty ugly, especially with this trend break. So if we do have any bearishness tomorrow, we should be heading down at least to this 18K spot. And then most likely, we'll see what happens. But the big short, I mean, here is a pretty decent place. Let's see where everything ends. But most likely, if we get another start under here, if it just pushes down, then we'll move all the way to our 10 to 11K target. Which kind of like begets a bigger issue. And then I'll look at chat about it. I just want to get through this. Because it's like the core of everything. And then I don't come back to it because it's like this stuff doesn't change. We already know what's going on. If we already know like stuff is bullish or bearish, then we can get a better idea. Some stocks will go against it, but more often than not, it won't when we have such big trends. But what we can see here is when we push down, we actually were on the top of this, or like we were underneath this channel or this trend. And the issue is when we push down here, we're underneath this channel again. So neither of these were particularly bullish whatsoever at all. This is something I had from January, so it's not like I manipulated this or changed it anytime recently. So my kind of thinking here is if Bitcoin starts here and if it really drops out, I could see Bitcoin dying out, to be honest. We'll see what happens, though. But that's kind of like a grand claim at this point. But I'm most interested to see when we come down, can we actually get back above, or will we be stuck under again, doing the same thing we did here for the last 2 months, or what we did here for that 1 month. So, but let me see the other ones with that in mind. That kind of gives you an idea of what I'm looking for, and kind of gives you like an idea of why I'm like saying this stuff, why I'm looking for the week time frame and things like that. Because it's right here. I mean, essentially on Apple, this is our range. This has been our range more or less the whole time, from here to here. So, and this is kind of like why we stopped also when like SPY and the Nasdaq were already under everything. But let me bring chat up real quick. My bad. My prediction, I don't necessarily have a prediction. Like, I look at a couple different possibilities, but once we have the market open, it won't matter, right? I don't use Renko. I can do day trading. I don't do it as often unless it's something big. I try to do bigger plays, something like this. Like, we can see in certain plays. There's here, like this is the stuff I try to go for. Like this, we can also see in the day time frame. Things like that. I got an entry position in here, but I got out. I got out when it came under, and I got in here. but I try to go for big plays. So like swings in a sense, but it just depends what's near big support. So, but either of them are all the same. So if you go to the other streams, like I can day trade, I can swing trade, it doesn't really matter. It's all the same kind of thing anyway. To me, my biggest thing is though, depending on what's happening, I don't like to hold trades overnight. I will say that. Depending on how big the trend is, or how more or less when there's a smaller trend, I really don't like holding things overnight. But more preferably, I don't like holding things over the weekend. It just never seems to work well for me. But we can also see here, this looks really good because we come above. Then we can see here, and we have like a 4-hour here also as well, so it looks bad. And this is also April, around like April 5th, April 6th. And then everything comes down around that time. So, I mean, it's just one of the nicer things that I like. And we can also see around here, the March 15th, 16th, right? Come under, boom. Pretty straightforward on that also as well. I mean, if anyone, I don't know. Like, I can post an idea if I want. Or I'll just show this, I guess, and then I'll go through, like, the Qs and Tesla and some of these other things. But, like, just to kind of show, even for Bitcoin, I guess, I mean, it does have its own thing. It does do its own thing, I suppose. Like, of course, to an extent, I guess. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Like, I feel like it hasn't really deviated much from what it was initially. Let me see. Like, we haven't really deviated much from this whatsoever at all. So it's like I kind of want to say it does its own thing, but at the same time, like it just moves where the market moves when the market's open. And what Bitcoin generally does over the weekend is in my opinion, very reflective of what the market does, or how we ended. So generally, when we end positive, or what I think was positive, like Bitcoin looked nice. That's why I was saying the specific spots I thought was a buy spot, but obviously throughout the day it looked really sketchy, so it's kind of like whatever. Right, we get this, boom, 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 boom. So like we just kind of see here, like nothing's really changed too much. If anything, it's just been overly bearish this whole time, and now we're just right here. So I mean, we'll see what happens, but I don't really look at it like any of the other things. I just kind of look at it like through this, and it just makes it a lot easier for me. So, like, I haven't really done a lot of thinking personally on Bitcoin recently. There's like an idea of Bitcoin update where I like call most of this stuff, and like it's fairly straightforward in my opinion for a lot of it. Depending on how we're doing it. So if we're trading it here, obviously it's a lot more difficult. But anywhere around here, I mean, we can clearly see this thing had no chance whatsoever. Once it started pushing down, I mean, because boom, boom, we just can't get above it. Same thing here. There's like a bar trade. I'm not going to get too much into that because it's not important. Let me see. But let me see. Semiconductors are probably going to get their butts raped. I can check the dollar index in a second, but it's probably just going to go up when the market opens. But I need to see where the market opens. Like for me, I want to see where the VIX starts. That'll give me a decent idea of where we can head and what possibilities we can do. And then I want to see where Apple is going to start. Not what it does in pre-market, but where it actually starts its candle. And that's what I really want to see to be able to get a better idea of what direction or where we're going to go. Because everything to me is really dependent on where we start. I want to see where the VIX starts. I want to see where Apple starts. So until I see where those start, I can only say too much. Obviously, Bitcoin looked bearish. We had the decent buy point here. Right, we can just even kind of see with these whole averages, right? We come under, it's not really a trend, boom, resistance. No one wants to sell down past here. No one wants to sell down past here. No one wants to sell down past here. And we can see we had this day, but we had a trend. Obviously, we pushed down too far, so the market kept it up. And then, we entered, and this was the nice spot to enter, and this is where I was making the videos somewhere like the other day when it broke trend, because we could see on the 4 hour and the 2 hour, it was just really bad. And the biggest issue for me here is like I can deal with this, but when we have this that looks perfect, and then it pushes down, and we also have convergence between where the 2 hole is and the 4. The only 2 relevant time frames that are around here, the 12 hours should be below, and the day should be like way or which one? The day was like right here. We already know where it is. So most likely our range going forward. This is, as of now, in my opinion, it's the most likely we're going to go down, and most likely this is going to be the best spot. Just like I thought this was going to be. I do think this was a good. Like, I don't change my mind anything about this at all. I think this was a great entry point because I think we had a decent chance of pushing up to some of these higher targets. Like 20,850, 21,630. And I was thinking about most maybe have like a bull trap, something like that. But the market's really going to have to keep this up. Any bearishness in the market, we push down immediately. We're going to push down really hard. Depending where the VIX starts, that also could cause us to push down. We could get the DXY pushing up. I don't know if there's some news or anything like that, but we could see any of those types of things kind of coming through. And so that's the basis really for how I form what I form. So let me see. Let me check some of these. Because Tesla, I mean, nothing's really changed with Tesla. It looked really good, but it's probably going to get pulled down anyway if the market's really ugly. Tesla, I remember looking at this on Friday. It looked really nice for what it was. So this is what I was thinking. But this requires VIX to start probably in the middle, that one middle section between those 2 weeks. And it also either requires most likely Apple starting above the 4-hour. Like, it requires bullishness in the market. That's the first thing. So Apple's either going to have to start above this 4-hour. Most likely it'll be a bull trap that kind of comes back up just to test in these areas. And we also have a 4-hour that should be 54, like right here, right now, also as well. So if we see something like this, then that's what I'd kind of expect. Preferably for anything like up, I just want to see it start here. It just makes sense. We'll have this up. It's just kind of like, it's just one of those things that just goes again. But it depends where we start because Tesla looks good. I just don't know if it's going to hold on its own. And even if it is, it's not something I would trade because then it's an anomaly at that point. And something that's deviating from kind of what the rest of the market's doing is something that's less likely to do what I expect it to do. I'm not a big fan. But like on the week time frame, I think it's okay for what it is. This is a little bit sketchy up here, but I don't see why it couldn't just push up and at least hit 325. But like I said, I need to see something in the market start off in these places. Otherwise, like it doesn't matter because so much can change. Or like there's like 3 different paths more or less, 3 to 4 different kind of paths or 5, but most of them are like the bullish ones are like the bullish ones are just so much different, which are maybe like one bullish path or 2. One's like almost for sure for a bull trap, and the other one's like maybe. And then it's like it's very hard to see that happening with the extra pressure that Bitcoin's getting. And the last thing I'll kind of say with Bitcoin is the kind of idea about that is if we're selling down on Bitcoin now, to me that also indicates that people that are trading Bitcoin because it just moves with the market don't believe that the market's going to be maintained on Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. And the kind of issue with that is if they do think it's going to be maintained, it makes sense to at least push it up and then have a bull trap on Bitcoin. And with Bitcoin moves with the market, it makes sense just kind of keep it there. It looked good already for what it was. Looked like it had a decent chance for a reversal with a little bit of like something too crazy. But the fact that isn't getting bought up and we saw everything, like it got sold when it didn't make sense, and then it looked like it made sense to get sold. So once it gets sold and it looks like it doesn't make sense to get sold, and then it looks like it does, that's when I made the video and I was like, no, it looks horrible. And that's when we were up like, I don't know, a couple percent. But, so we'll have to see. It's possible with everything where we start. This just starts right back here. So for me, I also am interested to see where the Tesla week starts. If we start back under here, to me, like, I think we're then just going to kind of push down here. So we just have to kind of see with that. So that's how I usually look at things. I just look for a couple different things to see how the market's shaping more or less in a sense, and then I try to look at some of these other things. So it's kind of interesting what they're doing. This push up at the end or something. I mean, like I get why they bought it where they bought it. Where's the 12, 13? So they kind of push lower. Okay, 1, 2, 15th, 16th. We'll see what happens. This is pretty scary. Like, I mean, clearly we can see that this is a decent spot to grab a decent spot. Or, like, okay, I don't think it's the most amazing. What day was this? The 6th. Okay, this is when we had the turnaround on the 4-hour. So this made a lot of sense, too. And just kind of looking at some of these other ones. And then the reason I kind of point this out is because there's other stuff that also showed that it was kind of decent. So September 6th, I think. Where was this? This was the 1st, right? And then the 6th was I think that was that Apple? Let me see. Or was this 6? I'm trying to remember where the 6 was. I think that was on here. Let me see. I kept looking through all these. Wasn't the 6? What is that? That's interesting, actually. I can't remember what I was looking at specifically. I had to go back to the stream. To me, it didn't look decent till the 7th. That's interesting. I wonder, was this decent on any of them? Let me see. I don't remember what I was thinking exactly. Like, I get why they buy it here, though they did pick it up more or less in this area and push it up. And this is kind of what makes me a little bit sketched about it coming down to here. I'm going to be, like, straight up. Like, this looks like a straightforward entry spot, or maybe even a little bit before. This doesn't look too bad either, what we do here. But this is definitely, like, pretty sketchy. Now, I don't think it's bad to pick it up here on the 7th because we could see a reversal around some of these things on the 7th. But the 6th was definitely a little sketchy here. I guess this is just people trading Netflix itself in that manner. So I guess we can kind of see from that. And like, if there's any kind of curiosity, the fib itself it's from 764 to 420.96. So I'm going to zoom out on it. But it's just like, this is just the fib I have for it. Let me get rid of these things. So I haven't changed it in a while, and I just kind of leave it here. So we'll have to see where this starts and kind of what this does, because it looks pretty weak, and I wouldn't want it to come back and test. Most of it, I've just been waiting for it to come under whatever this is, like 212 or something, 214. But we just haven't managed to come under it. So for me, anyway, I'd be looking for it to come start under 214. We'll see what happens. We still have where the VIX starts, and we have the whole pre-market, so it's kind of hard to say from that perspective what we're going to do right now. I have no idea what it's going to do right now. Let me see. Hey, man, I'm telling you that you didn't steal anything from me. I know it's forever ago. My bad. I don't know if you're still in here. Sohei, I think, or it's Sohail. I don't know, but you didn't steal my idea. I used to stream on Twitch back in the day, and someone came into my Twitch chat in late 2018 and told me about it. So I'm just passing it on to you. Um, you know, at most, I'm just passing it on to you. It's definitely not mine. I didn't do extensive testing. The guy that came in was just like a regular. He wasn't anyone that was like amazing. He just saw it from, I can't remember where, with those values specifically. And then I saw the patterns, and I was like, oh wow, this just seems to line up on so much stuff, and it just seems to be a great, it's just a great representation of where price matters. I think is what is really nice. Let me see. But I don't use Renko. Let me see. If USA ban mining farms, China also does. Poof, Bitcoin, yeah. So we'll see. It's definitely a lot of sketch stuff. Kazakhstan or something will pick up Bitcoin. I mean, we'll see what happens with it. It's my biggest concern with it is I don't know the super like fundamentals of the kind of like, I guess, like the market structure around Bitcoin, or how much people are leveraged. I know we had the whole liquidity crisis, or so we had the thing in May with what's his face, Do Kwon and their Luna thing. But then we also had the Celsius thing or something. Was it Celsius, I think, where they had a margin call, and then Sailor almost had a margin call, but then he's like, we stack back on, and then he kind of said, oh, it's all the way at 3K to really get hit. But I wonder, like, how big of like a stop loss, or like stop, or like what do they call it, stop hunting or something like that. Someone was talking about in chat. Like, I know the concept of it, but they're just going to look to knock people out. And just like how far we'll come down, I don't know. It'll be kind of interesting at these places. So, and it makes me wonder, like, how long is Bitcoin going to last? Like, it's a lot of hope to keep mining Bitcoin if it drops under 10, 11K. Because under 10, 11K is, well, like, if we do what we did in the last couple months, it's not really, where the hell is it? Oh, here it is. It's not really a huge issue. Let me go to the correct one. And then I'll keep going down chat. My bad. I'm trying to go quick. I'm not like in a rush. I'm just trying to get through everything quickly. if we but if something in fact does that similar, if Bitcoin does do something similar, I mean this will be our range here essentially, and that would be like from about 11K if we drop right now, with a base of like 7. So, and I'm not worried about it falling off. But if it does fall off, I would be somewhat concerned, just in general, with a lot of these bitch shorts because they are such long trend. Oh, this is like a zoomed out view. This isn't the one I wanted to click on at all. But if we look at like the one from I was using last year, this same general kind of concept, like we might just stuff really might be bad if we fall into this kind of situation. Because even though we go up in price, we're going down in the overall trend, right? So extension, less of an extension, can't even hold this area with perfect support right here, or like perfect price action above the support. So like if we zoom in, we can even see it. Like this was like Gucci. This was so nice. Like this was, there was a lot of nice stuff, but this is just really nice right here. And then we push up, and then just ugliness. And we have both of these here, and you can kind of see even here before, right? Nice, nice, nice. So we do all that, and then we can't even hold here and come back. So obviously this is much higher price. We do go up again. I think it's like 69, 68 or whatever. Was it not? I feel like it was. I don't remember. I took a break after here, so I didn't really care about everything from here to here, or here to here, somewhere around there. Let's see. But yeah, when we fall off, it's the same kind of thing, where it's like, we fall off out of the holes or out of the trend. We drop like 30. So I wonder if we'll see something like that. But that's kind of a long way away, so I'm not really too worried about it in that kind of sense. So. How do I use VIX to determine the trend? So it's the same thing with the VIX for me. Everything I do is price action. It's price action, and it is multiple time frame analysis, but it's almost more specifically. I mean, it is multiple time frame analysis, but it's 60% of that, as opposed to 50/50, is multiple time frame analysis. I don't know. It's multiple time frame analysis, but it's with the whole specifically. Let me just put it simply like that. I just trust these averages, and that's kind of why. So it's like back here, it's like back here we could see it. I had the video out. I think it was like August 10th or something. Just because we could see. So like let's look at this real quick. So these are like just pattern recognitions with lines that I trust. So what we can see here is that we have this month time frame line, and then let's do this real quick. Let's just draw a line like where this was like here, I guess, and we'll draw a line where this was here. And then let's look at the week. So you see what I'm saying? It very widely ranges. Very rarely, like you see, this is all the way up here. The week's all. This is the month. When I said it, this is where the week was. This is where the month was. This is where the week was. So for me, this big turnaround was just, oh, we have two large time frame averages that have come together. And so if someone's looking at the month, it makes sense. Someone's looking at the week. And then I just apply the same thing with everything else that I do, of what looks good to me and what doesn't. So I like to see things that start above. I think on that time frame, when something starts above my averages, or like the averages that I use, it has more strength. But then I have to see what it looks like on the shorter term, because it could look horrible on the shorter term and still push it down anyway. And like I'd like to see it start somewhere around it. The general consensus, general idea is it's a strong area, it represents a strong area. We want people to be able to buy. We don't. So on this week, we start all the way up here. Like we want to start around here. So it's just, that's like one big kind of concept. So for me, what looks good for the VIX? We have the week time frame here. We have the day time frames up here. As we can see, that's been wrecking us this whole time. We did start above, but this started above way too early. Way too early. We needed this to not happen if we wanted to see something like incredibly bearish on the market. Because like the week in general just isn't that strong. We started the week all the way down here, right? We can go to the day time frame, and what can we see? And I remember, I probably even have like a video of it somewhere. Let me see. I probably mentioned it. I must have, because I remember saying this, and I remember saying like I thought it was like a 5 to 10% chance it would do it. but I'm I'm going off of what it does, right? Not what it could do. So I'm just thinking beforehand. If it does this, you just figure out the possibilities of what it could do based on that, and then you just kind of go in more. But I still wait to see what it does. What was it? The 12th? Yeah. So let's see. So it's like here for the weekend. So it might even just be in here. Let me see.
Make let's get that out of the way. I don't know what that was.
that was on Discord.
My Discord on there.
Anyway, but
a little bit about the date. What you can set up.
Actually, I don't know.
The interpretation for this.
I don't know. I probably mentioned it somewhere in this thing. Either that or it was on stream. But there was like a couple different possibilities. What I was saying. So it's like if we keep a day starting down here, there's a higher chance we're going to go down, and then it's like I don't know. I probably don't really want to watch like the whole thing. So
nothing is just I'll hear from the sometimes it's 2 to 3 that makes a difference. So anyway, price that weird stuff to see that is
it's easier when I go back over this and I draw just circles like I do when I'm streaming.
I wasn't sure a little bit about the day because of 5.
But anyway, like that's the thing. It's all about where it starts. So the fact that we started down here on the day isn't really like a huge thing. Technically, the weeks are all the way up here, so we could push up through. But what's just the strongest bar none is that we get a huge reversal, and somehow it started here. And this is when I know a lot of people are seeing this because I saw it in like articles and stuff. We had the big divergence where the VIX was going up. This was the day the VIX went up, and we also had all the indices go up also as well. And then we had a perfect start right there, like just a perfect start, almost perfect start to the reversal, pretty much just about perfect, and then a continual perfect start on the next day candle, which is wild. So, and we maintain, bounce on the week, maintain, so now we sit around here. So you can kind of see when we look at it here, this is strong. I want to see it start somewhere here. If we want to look at it this way, maybe we like get something and it kind of looks like, on a shorter time frame, we have a shoulder, maybe like a head. I don't know, maybe like another shoulder that for possibilities we could like maintain. But even on what we're doing, we could say like shoulder, I don't like this, but head, and then why can't we just hold something here and push back up? We have this that fell a little farther under. But even if we don't want to look at it like that, it would just, what I wanted to originally see, which I think we can still see, is like if we ignore this, because this day was so annoying, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about now, is it would just look so nice if we just had a day that was around here. So we had a little bit of selling, but not really like too much, and then we ended the day slightly up. And then it would have looked perfect, or it would have looked really nice if they could have just had it anywhere up in here, just have some commotion, right? And then we could have this, and then something that, or this ends up here, or in this area, and we can get a day that starts here. Now the issue with the VIX, like I say, is that if it starts up here, it starts up there like 3 or 310, so you don't really have any time to trade off of it, but at least we can see a strong start point on the weekend position based off of that. So that's kind of how I've been using the VIX recently. I've only started looking at it. It's something that I don't go without now, but I only started looking at it when I saw it around August. Before then, I never looked at it. So I'm really glad that I did take a look at it, and it's been working out pretty well so far. But yeah, I just use the same averages and other kind of stuff that I use with multiple time frame analysis to just get an idea of the VIX and like what possible directions it might take in that kind of sense. So this is why I was hoping that we didn't go up too much because, like I said, we blew our load and we want to see the week start here just because it makes sense. Because we just haven't had a good week start. Too high up. It's like Goldilocks, right? Too high up. It's in the middle. This is too low. So let's just get something just right that starts right in this area, and it should look really, really, really good in that kind of manner. So no problem. The double hole is like I showed you. You can see the significance of the double hole when I kind of went through. I used a 200 smooth in the double hole, and I just go when I first look at something. I always go. Like, if someone asks me about something I haven't seen, I always go month, week, day. And, like, then I just know where stuff is. Like, when we see on Apple, what these all are these are just representations. So I adjust them when we change the time frame. But, like, you see how this is where the 4 hour 500 is? Because we're on the 4 hour. So this way, it makes it easier for me to do this multiple time frame analysis and just kind of look at all these time frames because then I know where these key things are. I usually don't do it for a 1 hour and below unless we don't have larger time frames kind of near us. But I do like the 1 hour sometimes. The 30, I mean, I'll use all of them, but generally the 5, 15, 30 with those lines, I'm only really going to mark when there's nothing else around. So, but it doesn't mean I can't just, like, the day only changes every day. The week I only need to change every week. So in the 4 hour only changes every 4 hours. So there's only so much adjusting that I really have to do. And a lot of times I'll just spend, you know, time on the shorter time frames just looking at it, like the 15, the 30, things like that. And then I know, well, the 1 hour is going to start at specific time. So I value the 4 hour more so than the 1 and the 2. In the middle of the day, I usually see a big change in price or direction around then. So I put more weight on that. So I'll kind of look where do we want to get and where do we want to start, or like what looks good. And just the easiest kind of way to put it without kind of going into it too much is what we're looking for here, because all of our averages are 4 hours is the only thing that was close to it today was up here. We're looking for something that starts above. This ended above. It didn't start above. We started all the way down here. We pushed to the top, but we want to see a start above. So this is going to have to start above at 130 the next 4 hour. But the issue is when we push up at the beginning of the day and this high, now you have to make it look good to continue. You need to keep it there. So it starts at the 4 hour. And so it just makes more sense that bears are going to be able to sell it down. If any bull says, oh, well, we need to start up here, it doesn't make sense to stay up here. Just because, like, there's no point in fighting it this high. It's really hard because you have bulls that want to take profit because they don't think it's going to stay there. You have bears that think it's likely, or regardless of what they think, they don't want it up here. They want to push it back down. So just kind of through that same general concept there. And then we finally get to one that we start above. Like I said, always this started 1 cent above it. It's kind of what it is. It fought a little bit in the beginning, and then once it only had 5 minutes support, and then just kind of lifted off. But the same thing we could see here. We want to see this is where it ended, started here, but we want to see it either start here above or under. And we can see it starts up, pushes, bounces, comes all the way back. So this isn't really, relatively, like this isn't that big of a difference. It's like 0.5%. It's not that big of a deal. But we can see once we start out, then we push down, and then we start under, right? So, you know. So I think we still have a chance to like push up on some of the stuff or do things. It's just Bitcoin makes it seem a lot less likely, and I do think Apple will probably start under the hole for its week time frame just because of that. Because it might not have to, but and it's not like something I would trade off because I need to see the VIX where Apple starts. But it's just something I keep in mind based off of what Bitcoin has done. Because people trade Bitcoin, and like if you see that the market moves with Bitcoin, to me, what that means is institutional investors or people with a lot of capital are just trading both. So to me, it makes kind of sense that people could make like huge amounts of money in crypto by doing things to manipulate the market here and there at certain time frames. Like I don't see why not. And I don't even think it's super regulated anyway. So I'm pretty sure they can still do that stuff in the crypto space. You know, so that's just one thing. Maybe it's not true, but that's something I always keep in the back of my mind, more or less, for that. So, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. Yo, what's up, Persifying? I didn't recognize you because you changed your thing again. You always change your whatchamacallit. You always change your thingamajig. You always change your profile picture. Makes it confusing. So we'll see what happens with all this. Like I wouldn't be like this could do anything. It could push up from here. It looks a lot less likely, but the one big thing about this for me is for me what matters is the market. I think any kind of like spot short is pretty decent here. We could extend above it if it wants to kind of do its own thing, but to me what it's done is it's set itself up in a place that if the market comes down, they're going to respect this. I mean, it's been just, I mean, it's not like this line isn't, like there's already enough data to show that. I don't know why, but just almost every place that it is, the line gets respected more or less. So it doesn't mean it won't go through. It's in some respects, but it's respected, and this is kind of the start. So if we are somewhere like up here and the market stuff looks on its own. That's entirely possible. Until like the VIX opens, or depending, do we have? I think we have the Nikkei open, which I don't think is that big of a deal. Then is the Nikkei open? I think. Let me see. Oh, the Nikkei is not open. I thought. Oh, the Nikkei is a holiday. Interesting. Okay, so we'll have the Hang. So the Nikkei is not going to be open until tomorrow, and then the Hang Seng is going to open about an hour from now. So that might have some effect on it. But most likely, this won't come back above unless the market pushes it above. That's why I think it's a decent spot. Same reason I thought this was a decent spot. Same reason I thought this was a decent spot. You can't see it here, but this actually pushed up a little bit, came down on this day, came up here, and then it turned around, and then the market, it had issues when the market opened also as well. So even though this looks like this is something that actually did like respect this and then pushed up. So it's more like, for me, entry points and like what determines like maybe we have more buying or more selling on some of these things is kind of how I look at it. So I can see this popping up a little bit. The market looks horrible. If this is up here by chance, anywhere up here, and the market looks horrible, I would expect this to turn around and just, have a decent drop. We'll see what happens. It also depends on where the market is. It's kind of hard to say with all these things. Once it's open, it's not nearly as hard, but it's just like looking at a couple of different possibilities, and my mind changes based on where we start. Like, there's so many different things. There's like, even though there's so many different things that could happen, but there's only so many things that look likely to happen together. But it's still almost kind of worthless. It's hard to explain sometimes for me, because it's like I feel like almost I have to put everything out specifically to really get the idea across, because I'm not looking for anything specifically. I'm looking for like a set of things that follow a certain kind of trend or overall like outcome that I would expect it to do in a sense. So, and this is like the first thing. So, Aurora, yeah, I'll check Aurora. Let me mute mine. Okay. Let me put this back on. I think. Yeah, let me put this back on right here. Should be good. Maybe we'll put it there, I think. Put it where we normally have it at. Okay, wait. Roar USD, I imagine? Not a big fan of these exchanges. Are you talking about Roar USD, or are we talking about a stock for tomorrow? Wait, is this even a US traded stock? Because then... don't feel you're not talking about Aurora Cannabis. Did they change their name? Maybe I just haven't. Maybe I never looked at it. I remember a long time ago my friend telling me about Aurora Cannabis. I remember, I thought I looked at this at the same time as Chrono, and then there was like a couple other pot stocks, Chrono and NBEV. I think NBEV's gone though, but I think you're probably talking about this one too, whatchamacallit, USDT, right? Or USD? Oh, you are talking about Aurora Cannabis. Okay, you are talking about Aurora Cannabis. It's weird because, whatchamacallit? Like I said, I have, or what is it, is it Kronos, I think, right? Aren't these the other pot people? I think there's Kronos pot people, and then it's just weird. It's not important, but it's just weird because, like, NBEV doesn't exist anymore, I guess. NBEVQ, New Age, I think it is New Age Beverages. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's actually NBEV or what. Anyway, let me go to Aurora. It's just kind of weird to me because I'm like, huh, my friend mentioned it, but it's just kind of surprising because usually I just add stuff to the chart, so kind of surprised I didn't have anything for it. How long was this? Man, 2019? Okay. I mean, I like this that we start above, but we also start above here and push in. So I'm not a huge fan of what it's done so far. Most likely this will just move with the market. Let me just kind of get that out of the way. Let's see. Where's August 26th? Let's see. August 26th. It doesn't. How much is this though? 168 to 153. That's still pretty big, right? Yeah, that's a lot. Wow, that's really misleading with these cheap ones. Okay, so where's the 12th? So what do we do here and we end here? Yeah, man, there's some big percentages on this. God damn. So far, I think it looks really bad. I don't see how it changes with the market. Let me see. The first thing I like to see is do we have anything that just lines up with the market in general? What we do in the 4-hour change? Markedly worse in the 4-hour change here, and that's where things went bad. Okay. Let's see. 9, 12. Looked really nice. I really like how it looks here. Obviously, this doesn't matter anything to me because like most stuff doesn't go off on its own, but it's really nice. Almost though, this does make me wonder why towards the end of the day we actually did push up more. But let me see if I can find some other averages for it. I think it looks poop. It's probably going to get wrecked when the market opens, irrespective of what happens or what it might look like at the end of the day. Ooh. Some of these aren't that bad. I actually do like this a little bit. I wish, I like how we start above and then kind of come back onto it. I don't mind this too much. I actually really like this. Even though we do fall through here, I like how this is working on the line. I like that we do come up and then we come back down to it. I do like that we can see that it's fighting for a little bit. And then this is obviously just sketchy. We got to respect the trend at one point, and most likely there's something we can see here on its way down. I don't know if something happened July 12th specifically, but I do like how this came back in and then finally starts above, boom. I like that it always takes a little bit longer, but these are 4 hours, not days. So I do like it on the 4 hour, and I guess we did get a really nice bump up there. But this is also July. Everything was like at the same time, like this, right? We could have just looked at Apple in this kind of sense and probably some of the other ones to see that it was pretty decent. So I don't want to give too much credit to whatever this was doing around here just because we could already see on the kind of a macro sense this looked good. Right, we can see here, looks nice from here. On the week time frame as well, right? So week time frame buy was right here. The day time frame buy was I think like 142.36. Yeah, 142.71 pretty much. We have the fib level, right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff to say that like boom, that were pretty good. So I do like that it also looked good, like pretty nice on its own anyway when it came through, but this just adds more to me, in my opinion, that it just kind of moves with the market. Well, actually, no, it doesn't move the market. Wait, did we? When did we go down in August? I have to remember some of these days. I remember the pivotal points, but not the other ones. Okay, so we topped off here on the 17th. Yeah, so it seems overall just moves with the market more or less. And then these are, yeah, it's, to me, a lot of it's speculation. I don't know how much speculation people want to do, but to my understanding of Aurora Cannabis, Kronos, and New Age Beverage was, in my opinion, it was speculation that weed was going to be legalized under the Biden administration, which seems like it won't happen. And then, there'd be this mass acceptance of their products. I think most of the stuff is more so like in Canada right now for a lot of it, in select places. I don't have a lot of faith in them from a fundamental perspective. I don't even like it. So, and I'm not trying to get high anyway. I'm not trying to ever do that stuff again. I don't even want to be around it. So, so as a long term, I don't see a lot for this, but it's something super cheap that and it's got a lot of history, regardless of anything. It's got bag holders, it's got top buyers, it's got bag holders, and it's got copium. So I don't see why not.
but I'd have to see the market do something. And what it looks like right now is like we'll just drop off. That's what it kind of feels. Well, I guess we're still on this month, so technically, I guess that's not right yet. But on like a shorter time frame, looks like we'll probably drop off. And I wonder how long they can hold before they would get delisted. I feel like NBEV got delisted because they were too cheap. So we'll just kind of have to see what happens. But I mean, this is just some brutal stuff when we look at it. Was it April? No, June. Okay. Oh, June 21. I have no idea what's going on around here. But this is some tragic stuff, kind of how we finally come under. Boom, boom. This is really some tragic stuff. Can't get above both. I'm surprised it's actually recovered here. So there's quite a bit of Jamoke, really. But I guess the other thing I have to remember is these are always such big percentages. So we came down, what, 12 to 11, like 11% right there. Okay. Not a huge fan of this, to be honest. If I was trading this, I would have gotten out the exact next day. Like, this would have been the buy point for me, but I would have gotten out the next day. Unless there's something on the 4 here to see, I 100% wouldn't have been on this ride up. It doesn't look good at all. This looks like the best candle here. Maybe there's something on a shorter time frame. Don't see anything here. Yeah, I mean, this is like straight ugly. Like, what is, like, look at this. Like, what is this? And then we pop up, and then we start all the way down here. I like that it comes all the way back up. It looks like it might have come down first. But this is questionable because we start all the way up here. We actually touch the bottom of the range, and then we come up. I think it's a little questionable to me. I'm not surprised that we failed here, but it is like the most surprising thing about this to me is that we continue to push up. I mean, I'm not going on a shorter time frame because it's kind of just like whatever. I don't care. If there's like something on the 1 or whatever that's going to show, like I don't care. If there's something on the 1 that's going to make it look good, I don't care because then like the 2 and the 4 are validated by 1. I have a hard time believing that. So, and then it just comes back to some normal stuff and we fall through. So it is pretty nice for what it is. It's ugly, like it's just some weird stuff for what they're doing. Like for me, straightforward entry point, right? Because we're just like range, and we want to see something come up and touch. I don't know if I would have gotten into this though at any, yeah, because I think I said here I wouldn't have gotten in on the day because we can see we just don't start above, or this is a 2 hour, but I think we didn't start above the day also as well. But we can just see on these lower time frames that look bad also. I mean, it definitely, I mean, people definitely, I can definitely see why people would have gotten squeezed out of it for sure. It just looked bad, so I mean, if it looks bad and it goes up, there's not much you can really do, to be honest. Kind of just is what it is at that point, right? It's a sad, unfortunate thing. But yeah, so pretty much for like Aurora, we can see what's on the shorter term. I think the easiest way to trade this, for me personally, it depends if Aurora is going to. I'll say the most obvious thing. If this thing doesn't get delisted, this looks like it could be pretty good on a bounce. Personally, I think things more like Netflix, Facebook, depending, we'll see. Boeing's been holding up incredibly well. We'll see what happens with AMD. I forgot someone's bringing up the semiconductors, and those are also high up. But I think they've still held pretty well. Like when I look at the like toppiness or topish or whatever. Like, anyway, if we just look at like from how far up, well, actually, I just feel different. So like, I'll just say like this: when I look at AMD, I feel different. So we do. What I was gonna say is anything with like a big disparity or like big difference from the top to the bottom. But when I see things like this, I always feel more like whatchamacallit, PYPL. Like these always seem to be like crazier ones to me. You know, like PayPal. Meta, right? These always seem to be like crazier ones to me. Boeing, but Boeing's held pretty well, so that's kind of what that is. But for Boeing, it's down 60%. It's just not in like as horrible of a place yet, where it is. I mean, where it is right now is pretty sketchy. We'll see where it starts of the day. This is actually going to be pretty ugly, but more under 138. But what I would like to see Boeing at, hopefully, is I'd still like. Did I get rid of my? Let me see. There it is. Should be on this one. Really, what I'd like Boeing at is somewhere down 93. I don't know if we would go lower. Technically, I still want it at 40. I just don't know if it's ever going to go there again. Like, Boeing was one of the great ones in COVID. I mean, it doesn't get much more straightforward with this when you have a recovery on stuff. So this was, like, pretty wild. And, like, if you look at option-wise, I mean, you're paying, what, $93 for something. For the end of the week, you're paying $150 to $200. And, like, within a week, I think it was, like, 2 weeks worth of trading days, or like a 1 week into another one, I believe. Let me see, because we're like looking at what, March 18th, yeah, like into like the 26th, yeah. So it's like technically over the span of 2 trading weeks, but just in like 6 days or 6 trading days, that's $9,000 on one option. It just goes up 100%. So if you're longing, also, that's crazy. So Boeing, like stuff like this to me is always a lot more appealing than some of these other ones. And they're just bigger and also more well known. That's what I really like about them. I mean, the biggest issue with this though is that it's held relatively well, and we aren't under this. So, you know, if we were like under this, I would say, okay, I would want to see something all the way down here, and I think this looks really good. But I just don't see it dropping there, even if we do have a crash at the moment yet. It's just so far away. You know, like boom, boom. Like we came down pretty hard through here, only a little bit. I think it could hold here, even if we do come back down. So I'm not as big of a fan, really. So, but like we'll see. Like, because that's kind of what my thing is if we're gonna really drop, if I'm gonna super long something after the drop, knowing like where I want, like where I expect reversal on something like Apple, and like the indices, which is like 15-22%. I think it's only like 15 to 20% down now. You know, then you just play these, and it's just really attractive, and it's really nice. I mean, I wasn't trading during 2020, but this is incredibly straightforward. Incredibly straightforward. I wonder if it even had anything here. I never really paid attention to this. Let's see. Oh, wait, what? No. Okay, here's the line. I'm like, huh? Nothing specifically on it. We do bounce so far through the line though, which is nice. So the idea of coming above it is pretty likely with a big push up. Yeah, we can kind of see what it was doing around here anyway. It was trying to get out of this for like what, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. And I guess we pushed up and then we ended here. So the only shame about this is that it kind of just skyrocketed all the way up here, and there wasn't like a straight up easy to see buy spot. But I don't know what the market was doing specifically on this day. So like I said, I was looking at stuff. I thought it was the end of the. I thought things were going to be pretty bad, so I wasn't trading around then. I was probably. I don't remember what I was doing. I was inside, washing everything down, washing food. You know, the whole stupid COVID crap. So. But yeah, so like these are like some of the ones that I really like. The ones that have lost a lot that are pretty decent from that kind of perspective. But Aurora does look really nice also. So like anything that doesn't look horrible, I think is fine. I don't like Aurora being so low though. Like something like Boeing or Facebook or like even AMD, even though AMD looks like it's just been fighting so much more. So it looks like it'll be harder to regain as much as the other ones. Let me see. I think I have another one. I think that looks a little bit better than this. Wait, which way does this go? Yeah, so this one's top down. Yes, so I don't. I'm trying to remember which. I should just delete one of them because one of them I never look at. Maybe they're the same. Are these the same actually? No, I don't think they are, right? Yeah, no, they're not the same. 1 second.
it's not like a huge deal. But every time I look at it, I always remember that there's one that's just much more pleasant to look at. And it's not like one just lines up better, one's just like more pleasant to look at. Where's the 4 hour? Let me see. Where's January 28th 4 hour? Is this it? This looks like this is the one. I don't think we have January 28th 4 hour. Let's see. 4 hour January 28th. I'm just gonna delete the fib on the one net, so I don't have to get this confused again. Oh my God, are they at the same place? Are they just different ones at the same place? They're not linked because when I move one, it doesn't move the other. 114.96, 114.84, 130, whatever. I'm just gonna delete the one on the right. Whatever. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're relatively so close to the same. This is what I remember looking at. This is when I got like here, then I got out here, and I was like, no, with the intention of I wanted to see a day start. Actually, now that I think about it, I was definitely stupid back then because I don't know what I was thinking. I remember being greedy, but technically by like what I look at now, I mean, it probably was like a day. It has to be. It's a day that started above. I was definitely greedy on this. The one thing is I didn't know that there were earnings. I 100% would have re-entered because I only got 115s when it was like 102 something. But obviously, like a 115 towards the end of the week was $1,600 minimum. Yeah, this was really dumb of me. I'd never do that again, though. I'd never like miss that again or make that mistake of like not whatchamacallit. But like I said, like some of the things, even in the beginning of the year I was looking at are kind of starkly different from some of the things that I'm looking at now or in the way that I look at stuff. So it looks like USD WTI. Why are we still here? Why do we keep getting, like, we've already almost come down here, and then why are we doing this? Like, we already had this here. The fact that we haven't had a single day candle for oil start on the bottom of this is just weird. And it's like, we have the fib here, we have the month, we have the week. We'll see what happens. I mean, doesn't it usually come down when the market does, I think? It's the 26th, maybe not. Not really a lot going on there. And the TAs were down, but not that bad. No, I think we had a reverse on the 6th, right? Or was it the 8th? I think it was the 7th or the 8th. So, I don't see anything like too specific. I just don't know what it's doing. It's just screwing everybody over. Like, just come down to this area, please. Like, it's so obvious. It seems like pretty straightforward play. But they're just making it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse the more that they're doing this up here. Like, I don't know what their long-term goal is. Really don't. Well, I guess technically when I think about it this way, oil's like a real thing, so when I think about it, like, it's not just like traded, because like who's really using like gold? Like, obviously if you want to stack gold up, but I mean, it only has so much uses. You're only using so much of it in electronics and things like that. When I think of like oil, like I kind of look at it this way: the quicker that we hit here, or if we actually didn't do any of this and just moved down to here on the bottom of this and came here, I think somewhere by an hour or whatever, we'd be all the way up here. Like, barring everything else, it would be up here, trying to make its way to somewhere up here to challenge these. To me, like, long story short, it just looks super bullish if it did come down there. So from that perspective, I could see maybe why people wouldn't want it to push down there. Because if you're trying to get more and not just trade it or something, like actually accrue more, it makes sense. You would want as much as possible. It makes it look worse and worse and worse, but there's such strong time frames, it's kind of hard to see that they don't kind of come through. So, but it does. I don't know what this dumb buying is, so as long as it comes down quickly, I still think these areas are fine. Things like 80, 79, 50, and then 70. I think there's one like right under like 78, 90 or something like that. So, but overall, I mean, like, we don't actually have this starting under and then starting back above. So I don't want to say it's like a crazy like reversal as like, for me, this is always like a really nice thing because we actually have stuff that's under, but it starts under. sim or wing candle, but just in general, we have a reversal truly under backup. I wouldn't necessarily, I don't think of it really in the same way as this. So I don't think this has as much strength, but maybe it pushes up. But it's just ugly buying. So we'll see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets sold down. But at the end of the day, I don't care because like the area is down here, so it's just hard. It's just really hard to care when it's just really hard to care when the area is all the way down there, pretty much. Like whatever we're doing right now, like it's just not of any interest to me. So they can do whatever they want here. I'm not gonna long this on here. I'm not gonna short this here. I'm just gonna let them do what they want to do. But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone has any other kind of questions or anything like that. I feel like I went over a decent amount of it, and we kind of got an idea what I'm looking for and all that. So nothing else has really changed. We just all there really is we have to see where the market is. So like Bitcoin looked bad earlier in the day, and it's kind of just what it is. And maybe that means something for the market. Maybe it doesn't. We'll just have to we'll just have to see tomorrow. And it's kind of all there really is to it. But if we're going down on some of these things, as everybody knows, I mean, it's pretty far. It's like pretty far down for a lot of this stuff. Possibilities all the way down here, 24, 25,000. I think even no, we didn't the month's all the way up here. I don't know, where's the month? I feel like when I remember looking back at this, like the month is right there or something. Maybe I'm crazy. Yeah, yeah, exactly, right there. Yeah. So it's like even if we do look at this, I mean, who knows? Maybe it is possible that we actually come through this. So it just depends. We can see some nice stuff here, at least on the week time frame with the 200 smooth. So at least stuff like this made it look pretty nice to turn around. And this was able to be seen. This is. I mean, let's be straight up. This is beautiful. Something in all this volatility in the midst of all this stuff happening, it is really just beautiful. It really is such a nice bounce on the 0.25, coming back up above all this, boom. Just really, 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 really nice stuff. Really nice price action. The bots or whoever was trading, probably mainly bots, really knew what they were going for, and I think they did a really great job pushing themselves up. So hopefully we can see something like that again. But if we do expect to drop through, I mean, I was looking at like 24K lowest, but if we expect a sharp drop through, maybe we have something up here. So I could easily see something like 21 or maybe 22.3 happening also as well, and like a big sell down. And that's just kind of going off based off what happened before. It's not like I'd ever sit in the full position through all of that expecting everything to just fall under, right? So, and it was kind of markedly different with this sell down. It was just like really, really aggressive. Very fortunate somehow that it managed to come all the way back up for people to short again. But definitely markedly different of here. But maybe this actually makes this better than where we are now, because this kind of just drops through, as opposed to here where we've created all of this resistance up here, and then we've fallen through. We found support and pretty much came back and got pushed down. So, I mean, if we break through here, it almost for sure in my mind has to go all the way down to these levels. We'll see. Like, I guess one of the other things I could say, if no one else has any questions, I might, for the next couple of minutes, I'll just look at some stuff, and then I'm probably going to head out. But when we look at it from this perspective, too, on the week, we have our week target all the way down there at like 85. I think on a month time frame, somewhere like 80, 70 something, like 79, 85. I'm not saying it's coming all the way down here. I don't know if it's even ever touched this, right? I do think we've touched the week one, though. I'm pretty sure. I think we did. At least that was a long time ago. Jesus Christ, 04. This is so long. So long ago. So it's possible we just don't even touch the week. We'll have to really see what happens. I don't think it matters because, like, for me, the entry point is something that starts around the hold up here. So it kind of just is what it is at those lower areas. But there's just a really big gap. It's like a really, really huge gap
between like where the day is going to be at currently. I think 146, I believe. It's just like a big gap. So I still think this looks fine. This area looks fine. We can see something around there. And this fib was definitely like important to me, so this is going to play a decent amount and kind of where I'm looking forward for like some of these reversals and things like that. But I'll also be looking to the Nasdaq and the main indices. I don't see why. I'm not just going to look only at Apple. But like I said before, we already know the levels that we're looking for, especially when we're already in the motion. I don't need to keep clicking back to everything. That's why, like, a lot of the times when the market's open, I just have these prices in my mind, and I'm just looking at the values over here on the top right. And based on the movement. Yo, what's up, Pooty? It's good to see you, man. It's been a little bit. Woo. Hope you've been doing well. I just got finished going over a couple other stuff. We'll have to see where things start tomorrow. Long story short, though, like, if you are interested, and the same thing for anyone else that's in here. I update these every day, sometimes Saturdays, but rarely. But I would recommend everybody at least boost it if you could, if you really like it. But yeah, I have like all my recent ones, so it's okay. So I was like, why did it say September 17th? But anyway, like I have all my daily updates are right up here. Oh, it's been a while. I think I've been streaming for a little bit with my face, maybe like a week or two, something like that. I was doing it earlier, but still. But yeah, I mean, here I am. I don't think it's that bad personally. We'll have to see where the market is, but barring the market, like what it might do, I think it's a reasonable short spot for where it is right now. Because we finally had another opening under. We'll see what happens. Like the market determines a lot of it, but for me, like the best spot is at the line here. We're not that far away from it. We'll just have to see what happens. So what I thought was the best entry point was around here the other day. And then, like, we could see as it trend broke right here and here, it came back up. These were all good areas to exit that. But we had this bullishness, which isn't too surprising because once we break this trend and we fall lower than here, right, we're going to then want to come back down to the day time frame. So coming back down here looks pretty bad, broke the trend. Hard make us look good, so it makes more sense. Bears are going to kind of take over, and then they're going to have us end and start under. So that's kind of where we are now. So if we do go down in the market tomorrow, we'll have to see what happens. This is probably will be one of the only chances to get into a short. So I think it all depends on the market, and it's really hard to tell specifically because there are still some scenarios where the market could try to go up a little bit. It feels very unlikely that we will see any of the scenarios play out where we have anything going up or like extended. Because what Bitcoin needs really right now is something to extend. It needs something over a couple days. Because if the market looks sketchy, like this is our range. So if the market looks sketchy, I think it's more likely that we're just going to keep, like, this is our range. So if we don't hold here, all we have to do is break here and it just kind of collapses. You know, and maybe they try to hold somewhere around here. There's a level here of support at 18K. I think it'd be much more likely that we come down to 18K, maybe do a little bit of a bounce, and do something like that. But it just, to me, it depends on the market. But for a short spot entry, I think it's one of the better ones so far. So I don't really know where stuff's going to go. Market isn't open, but it looks a lot more bearish than bullish. And the biggest bullish thing that we had was this start here, which pretty much got wrecked down. We can even see on the shorter time frames. Like we've been ranging in here for a while. So also at the same time, we can just kind of see it from here. We've been within the 4-hour ranges for everything pretty much. Besides some of these, we try to break through. Technically, it does fight struggles, and then we can see over here. We start under, and this is like when I made the video, because I didn't like that we saw the 4 and the 2 pretty much meet here. It's like a $7 difference, and now we're on the bottom side of it. So like I think this is pretty safe from a 4-hour perspective and from a day. What I'd be looking for price action wise, like I want to see where the VIX starts, and we'll see with everything else. But if we saw this end above, like I think this is a great spot. So if we do end, where's the day? Is it a little bit higher? Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty sketchy. So the kind of issues we run into here is we have this day resistance. If the market doesn't push it up, the market hasn't pushed this up or it's going to get wrecked down. That's kind of how I feel about it. We're not like off the cliff yet, but there's still a decent amount of space to be had. Um, with this 4 hour here, they could get 4 hour to start above this and maybe try to start a trend essentially, because this is, besides up here, this is the first time that we've started under, or like outside of it. I guess this is the first time we've started under it since we came in, but the first time that we've started outside was here, and then we've also started outside of it here. So it does look a lot more bearish than bullish from that perspective. But like it depends on the market. So, I don't think it's likely to. I really don't, but we'll have to see. I thought it was pretty likely that Monday we'd see a bull trap kind of form, so we'd push up. So we'll kind of see with that. I don't think it's like a huge thing. Another thing that could be done is, instead of like either a small amount, high leverage could be decent, or like a larger amount with not a lot of leverage, or just a smaller position and waiting to see where the stock market opens. The VIX has a couple different plays. Like this is how I would do it, but it's like a lot of explanation. Like if the VIX started here, because the VIX starts at 310, so the VIX starts somewhere up here. I mean, to me, it's almost for certain an amazing short spot. It's possible that it's not here. It could drop before the VIX even opens. And none of the markets are open, I don't think, or maybe a couple of them are open right now. The Japanese markets are closed for the day, so the Hang Seng market's open in about, I think, 15 to either like 3 or 15 minutes. I don't remember. Huh? Oh, I clicked the VIX. I'm like, what? Like, what the hell? Does this just say the Hang Seng? What the hell? Oh, I'm so dumb. I clicked over here and I keep looking up. Okay, I was like, why does it say 5 hours? Yeah, it opens up in 6 minutes. So we'll see what the Hang Seng does. That could pull it down also as well before that. But there just seems to be more of a reason to be cautious or be short than long. So definitely not a reason to be long. So like we saw, we started out on the day, or we started under again on the day time frame. We can even see here what happened. True. I mean, it's been kind of all over the place for some of it. Besides September 12th, I think I felt pretty certain about it, but you never know. But we can kind of see here the last day that we fell on, the last time we started under, the market pushed down, we got that extra push, so it looks like a way better trade. It looks like a way better trade for short here. So, but the safe thing to do could just be wait for the market to open. So, for me, it seems like a lot of copium for people who expect it. Like if we enter short here, is it really going to pass here before the market opens? I don't really know. And even if the market did open, that's pretty aggressive. It's a lot of buying, a lot of pushing up that it's required to do. Because we started over here on the 16th and still just had so much trouble. This is Friday when we almost fell off. So, it seems set up really nice. I like where it is. The closer it gets to, I mean, it's not a huge deal. I guess, what is it, 19510, so it's only like $16 off. Is probably like arguably the strongest spot, if this is a good spot. Same thing like for here. It didn't touch all the way. I think it was like $12 off or something like that, 42, and it went to 55 or 57. So it's $15 off. It's not a big deal. So, but yeah, I believe it's a short. Maybe not a huge short because the market's not open, and that's like the biggest thing for me. But confirmation could mean either probably like loading up more or getting out, which we'll have to see what happens. But I think this is a pretty decent thing. Like right here with this, anywhere in this area, made it look so that anywhere in this area was able to get out for a no loss trade at best. So
But yeah, so like I always say, I don't know what's gonna happen. That it seems most likely. So the market's what matters. Because essentially what we're doing is trying to use Bitcoin as an indicator for the market, and I don't always like to do that, but it can be. I mean, we even saw, I think, like Apple looked sketchy, but I will say we even saw some stuff here, even before Apple did look bad, because Apple started under, I think, like here, and then that made a lot of sense that we were just going to drop like Apple. So like if we look at Apple on these days, so we could see this struggling and looking sketchy in a sense of the point, and then we bring Apple over here. This is what, if I can just find it, I know what it looks like. Here we go. Right, so we got April 6th, that just opens up right under, and then we have the 4 hour there, so it just opens up under, and that's when we just, it looks horrible. So boom, 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 you know. So, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel about it right now. But we'll see what happens. So, preferably, I like to see when the market opens. That's just me. I think it's safer, but everything indicates bearishness from Bitcoin. I think the Hang Seng's gonna open soon. So, I don't really put too much value on it right now. I don't really care about the Hang Seng until it's under. Like the Hang Seng looks horrible, I'll say that, but I don't really care too much about the Hang Seng until it's under. Put it like there to line it up now. Until it's under 18,274. It's never been under. I think we had a 2009 hit. This would have hit too if we had a little bit more data for this thing. So we would have had one there, we have one here, and then we have one here. So, like, we have never had, yeah, there's no long-term averages below this. So I think the worst thing would be to see like a week or a month start under here, maybe even a day. We'll see. I don't look at the Hang Seng and then go like, what does this mean for other stuff? Like here was a nice play if someone wanted to mess with K-Tech. I think that's the only. Well, actually, I could have made decent money on this. I didn't know there was K-Tech that had low volume, and then there was Neo and something else. Neo and BB or whatever, and those kind of went crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you around Pooty. I don't know what the time is, but as usual, I'm on every day. So I'm on from I don't know, I'm on from 9:15 UTC -4 to whatchamacallit 16:15 UTC -4. You know, or I'm on from like 1:15 UTC what is it, to 20:15 UTC. So every day, every weekday anyway, I'll be on for those days. So I'm just keeping to the schedule. Oh, also we have the whatchamacallit. One sec, Pooty. Don't you have the Discord? Also, do you not have the Discord? Let me see. There, if you want, Pooty, just join the Discord. This should work. There you go. Just get rid of the. Okay. You're not. Okay. I just want to make sure. Oh. Did I just miss you? Or maybe you're sweet? Maybe that's who you are. But yeah. I mean, I'm probably gonna head out in a second too. If anyone has any questions, I can answer them. But besides that, I'm just gonna take care, Pooty. It's good to see you again. I'll see you soon. But whatchamacallit? Oh, also, don't forget, like, just every day, this is where my updates will be on this idea. So if you want like the gist of everything, or you can't make it, this is kind of like the gist of everything where I put everything. So, and I'll say which day is which day. So like I talked about a lot of this stuff earlier in the day. So you can always just check here if you ever need to, or if you feel like you've missed something or you weren't able to catch the stream. Alright, I'm gonna look at stuff for like 2 minutes, and if no one has any questions or anything like that, I'm just gonna head out for the night because there's not really anything for me to do here. Oh wow, we're all the way down here finally for Ethereum Classic. 10 years later, wow, holy crap. I was wondering when this was going to hit. It hit a lot quicker than what I thought. I feel like I'm on the wrong one though. Am I on the right one? Yeah, here we go. Tragic. It's promising though. I really like it. We'll see what happens though. I do really like the spots of Bitcoin. I don't know if it's representative of anything since it's 2 Bitcoin. What about Link's doing now that we've dropped? Poor Luna. Yikes. Yikes. Where's Link? Link's still up here. Oh. It's kind of unfortunate though. It's like up here, but not really. Like it's still at 39.20, which is why I was like, oh wow, it's still up here, but it's not actually up here. It's still tragic. What's KNC doing? This had a huge drop earlier, man. KNC. Papa bless KNC. I'm sorry, man. Missed you. You're one of my favorite altcoins to look at. I don't think I've ever traded this a single time in my life. One of my favorite altcoins to look at, though. It's not surprising that, like, one nudge, I mean, it is pretty crazy that there isn't even a rejection here. But, I mean, we did sit here for a while and then push down. I was hoping, I mean, we needed things to be bullish, but I was kind of hoping we'd be able to push up. But like, here's the scary part about it, right? We've already bounced and now we're coming back down, so, jeez. I mean, this thing might be donezo. I don't know. Like, I'm not, obviously that's like not something you trade off of, and the bounce spot was here. But just based off the idea of just like analyzing and looking at it, not like for a trade, just like just my thoughts. Don't really want to be somewhere where I hit it and then come back down. So hopefully this thing can hold here. It looks like a strong area anyway. Even here, a little bit lower looks pretty strong also as well. But yeah, I mean, definitely tragic. 9.4 to 7. So I don't even know. Can we see this on the day's always been like the day calculation has always been really easy to see KNC on. Not sure if it had anything horrible. This is really nice. I love KNC. It's so nice right here. This start and turnover and pushing up. This sandal's a little sad, but it's not horrible. I would have liked, I mean, I only needed to be a little bit higher. Just make it green. Make this look a little bit better. Start a little bit higher. This is really pretty too. Not a huge fan of lacking this here. Just gotta squeeze back up, I guess. Same as here. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah. Let's see, people were talking about Ripple. What happened to... Oh, man. What the hell? We're all the way back. That's insane. We pushed off of this, and now we're already all the way back down to the line. Jesus. Crazy. Oh, my God. This is ugly. So hopefully this thing can keep pushing up, but the market wrecks it down. I mean, this looks like it's in a... This is going to have so much selling. And most likely continued selling. Let me see, where's our day? Way far away. Wow. Wow. Litecoin, if things drop tomorrow, I mean, more or less this is what I think the range is for Litecoin right now. Maybe it bounces here. Does it even look decent from the past? had something else. Yeah, I mean, it's decent. I like this level. Still looks like this more or less is our range is right here and here from pretty much like, well, we see it all the way down to 48, but then 42. Where's this roll Litecoin chart? Do I still have it? I had one at some point. Indicated $4. I was like, that's pretty funny. I think it's this one. It's just a fib retrace. Or not a retrace, I don't know what you call it. What is it? Yeah, the retracement as opposed to an extension. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I don't know how there's a difference. I don't really care. But this is one where I do it like the opposite way. So it's like this. But yeah, we'll see. It's like 3 down there. It's kind of funny. And I don't like do anything off of this, but I just thought it was like really funny. I could see it going to 3. That'd be pretty hilarious. What's Shiba doing? Struggling. Let me do this actually. Let's see what's been going on with it. It's been what? Jesus Christ. 2 weeks since I looked at this? Almost, yeah, at least 2 weeks since I last looked at this. 12.235? Yeah, that thing's way high. This thing's all the way up here now. I don't feel like moving everything, so I'm just not. It's too much work. Not gonna trade this, so I'm not trading this anyway. Like you just want to. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. None of it's like super surprising though. Since the second Bitcoin looked bad, so then again, I mean, we maybe had a bull trap to get wrecked down anyway, so Solaris barely holding. Let's see. Oh, September 10th. Wow, a lot's happened since this. Super tragic right here on this candle. A lot of ugly stuff. Alright, let's do it all the way to the bottom. Torn, I feel like it's held pretty well. Or was this at 8 yesterday? Oh, was that 780? No, it was at 8. Okay, yeah, I was like, I saw the 17, and I'm like, is this held its price? Because I couldn't remember if it was 7 and change or 8 and some change, and it was 8 and some change. But this looked ugly. I mean, even on a short-term trend, it broke it and just looked bad in general. Now, it's a lot more obvious with Bitcoin, but still. It's at 18. When did this fall down? 4 o'clock is when it really fell. Okay. No surprise. Everything looked bad at 8 between these two 4-hour candles. This one and this one, so everything looked like trash. I think we Gucci. I'm pretty sure we're Gucci. Poundcoin's held pretty well. I don't think there's anything else I give two craps about looking at. Not for now, anyway. Netflix will be interesting. I don't know whoever brought it up is still in here, but Netflix will be interesting. I haven't checked it in a while. Obviously, I checked it earlier, but like I haven't checked it, I think since around here. So I was incredibly surprised to see that we were up here instead of hovering somewhere in its bottom range, almost being under. This was actually like pretty surprising to me. Like I think I already said it before. This looked like pretty nice, and then the little reversal here We have that. So, like, I mean, this looks nice. I can kind of see this a little bit. Definitely, this is like sketchy. Yeah, this is like the 6. Yeah, and I think I was mentioning this before. Like, yeah, 'cause this is the 4-hour bounce. So this didn't even look like a buy. This did, and then the next day did. But this is so sketchy. So sketchy. It's pretty crazy that 15th and the 16th it went up. I canceled my net. I don't know if it's a bad sign, but I canceled my Netflix subscription. I still have another month minus 1 day. I have until October 17th. So I'm probably just gonna watch some Netflix in a little bit. $20 a month, guys. I spent $200 on Netflix this year, and I've watched 10 to 20 hours at most. Maybe more than 20. Maybe 20 to 25 hours of Netflix. What a waste. Like, actually, what a complete waste. It's pretty wild. Like, that's a lot of money. Like, $200 is a lot of money. Those whatchamacallit, those Apple puts the other day, or the other week, were about 300 a piece, almost on the dot. You know what I mean? And those all turned, I doubled those, but those all at the end of the day turned up 5x. Anyone that held it till the end of the week to expiry. So, you know what I mean? That's like 200. That's like 200 into like 800,000, or even at least 400. So now, if I didn't spend it on Netflix, would I put it onto a brokerage account and then traded it? Probably not, but still, just a concept. I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully no one's on Twitch or YouTube because I'm not looking at those chats right now. I'll be looking at them tomorrow though. I'm just kind of tired right now. But hopefully everyone got the gist of everything. I think this was actually a pretty good stream. It went a lot better than what I thought. You know, we'll see what happens tomorrow, and things just look pretty ugly. So this could get incredibly ugly. Not only do we have the day here, but the day lines up almost with the 4. And I'm not saying it's like this, but, you know, just sometimes you just gotta watch out. This was the first 4-hour candle. Now, there's no day here. This was the day switch, but, you know, start under. And that was like the start of the ride to 17.8. Or wherever 17.8 is down there. I can't bring it that far down. So, pretty sketchy stuff. Pretty sketchy stuff. I think we're going to get wrecked down. I think we'll have a pretty obvious picture of what happens before things start. And I guess this is like an SOS. So I guess I'll just make a video real quick. And actually, I can just, I'll just make a video idea and then I'll end it with this. Yeah, I mean, next week, everything, I mean, everything looks so horrible. Like, actually, it's insane how bad everything is set up right now. The only thing that could make this worse is if the VIX, for some reason, doesn't really react to anything, and the VIX starts right here. If the VIX starts right here, it, like, even if they decided to do like a 0.5 instead of a 0.75, if the VIX starts here, we're almost for certain going to like whatchamacallit, like 30 something. Like, we should get pretty close to finishing this cup. Not like all the way at the top, but at least somewhere around like 30, 31, somewhere up here. Something crazy. I mean, it could just shoot up. But what it looks like right now is just really, really sketch. But yeah, so let's just kind of get this out really quick. There's not really too much to say. It's just easier to put it in a video. Let me just do this and then get rid of this. And then, actually, you know what I could do? I don't even know if I care about updating it. I'm just kind of lazy, man. I guess I'll put it out. There's no reason not to. I don't know how many people even see it, though. I'm not really sure. When I update an idea, I think it gets pushed to the top, but I'm not sure. But I'm not updating ideas when I do this. I'm updating an idea and an idea. So, like, in here, each of these is 1 day. So any update gets updated specifically on that, but these are actually private. The one I'm making now are actually private. So it's like, I don't know if anyone actually sees when I update this, or like when I update this. I mean, it's kind of on everybody. everybody. I don't really give a crap, to be honest. It would be nice if it updated people, though, but I just don't know if I care, to be honest. All it is like it just shows that I'm more right, but like it doesn't really mean anything for me at the end of the day. I don't really care. It's either winning or not losing, but it's a deadly combination. So this will be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. I'm not gonna make a video. I'm kind of lazy, but it's I mean, to me at this point, it's kind of like what the only thing the Feds can do. I don't know if they can do anything, man. This is going to be horrible. Well, we'll see. It's just not looking good. There's a lot of people, a lot of crypto money. Like stocks have to come back up. There's a lot of resource issues in the world. You know, I could easily see China invading Taiwan in the next 2-3 years, depending on how bad stuff gets. Because China's like a big exporter. If there's a huge like depression all around the world, depending on how bad stuff gets, I mean, what reason do they not have? What reason do they have to not just go into like Taiwan? I don't really know, personally. So, and we'll see what happens with this other stuff. Everything just seems pretty bad. At the end of the day, it kind of is what it is, and I only think about it for fun. Just because it's kind of interesting to think about. Like trading's whatever. I already said whatever I needed to say, and I'll see what I need to see 15 minutes before the market opens. I don't need any more than like 5-10 minutes to be able to tell what I need to do tomorrow. But you know, just the real life implications of some of this stuff is always pretty wild. I wonder if we'll see any like margin calls. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, we could always turn around. Who knows? But it'll be interesting to see. I guess that's all I really can say. There's really nothing else to it. Bad things are bad. There's not really much else. It's kind of weird thinking I have like a pretty good skill of being able to guess a lot of this stuff and like trade well and do all this stuff, and like at the end of the day, when stuff gets serious, like none of my skills regarding this matter. Like trading and charts like just don't matter if stuff goes to shit. Like it just really, like in my opinion, it just doesn't. So it's always kind of interesting from that perspective. But I guess most people's skills don't really matter when things actually go to crap, if they do. So, like even if you have a useful skill, I don't like, even if you know how to be an electrician or carpenter or things like that, plumbing, hacking, you know, not really sure how important data analytics are when things go crappy, or like making games or coding for, well, not coding, but like, when I guess you're looking at, that would be more like a C# thing for like games more so, but like even if you have a farm with land, you need the government to not take it, or you need people to not encroach on you. So we'll see what happens. I was just thinking about that because I'm a little bored, but we'll see what happens with everything. Like I said, I think this is still like the best place for a big, like a pretty decent size short or a high leverage. It's not, well, it's not the best. Technically, the best is here and then here. If we do go down, so I mean, even here it's like what? It's not that bad. But for a turnaround, maybe somewhere in the night we could see a 4 here. But I would be waiting until 4 o'clock, to be honest. That's when the pre-market trading opens. So hopefully there's like a dead quiet. Hopefully there's not too much action. Bitcoin makes me think that we're just going to drop even if the market just looks sketchy. I feel like the bull trap seems less likely. None of this really matters, like I said, because we'll have a really good idea tomorrow when the market opens. The only reason I wonder this is because we haven't seen the VIX or like the market start on the day and the week, in the 4 hour, obviously all in one. But I mean, it all is set up to be like easily just get pushed off a cliff. Like I I could see Apple starting under the week time frame tomorrow, like relatively close, and I could see us barely going up or just going down. And I could see Bitcoin down to like 17.1 or whatever within a day or two. And then depending on what happens there, because we have to remember we do have the week time. Like on Apple, we have the week time frame. It's going to be at 150.56 tomorrow. And then around 146.40 is where we have the day 200s. I don't need to really say it. I guess I can just click it and show it. It helps just to remember the numbers, to be honest. It's 146.40, okay. But yeah, so this is going to be 150, 156, you know, and then this here. So it's, if we do start somewhere up here, the best, or if we do start up here, I mean, this is like really bad. It's because it's just reasonable to open like a decent short here. And not, like, it's not a huge risk to open a short if we start under in this area. But like, this is like a range. But the issue is that we're looking at the week time frame. And then so really what happens is like, this is actually our range, which kind of brings in the issue of if we push down here, which just looks really bad because this is just a strong area, and more likely we'll push down. Like, there's just so much to stay down, 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 down. Nasdaq's going to be on a cliff if that happens. Like Nasdaq's practically already on a cliff. I think we have the whatchamacallit. Like any down starting, we start under the 4 hour. There's no, unless something's changed. The 1 and the 2 and everything's above it. So there's no like day time frame that's above it. The 4 hours here. Dow's under everything already. SPY will be under everything. SPY's already under everything, you know. So it's like literally just all set up to just, you know, just push it off of a cliff. And Apple, as in my opinion, which is like a really good determinant outside of any like hard averages on the indices, whatchamacallit, because obviously I still respect the indices and their whole averages on the larger time frames, like the day and the week, to a good extent. But as long as it respects it, right? That's what's most important than anything. Whatchamacallit, like, barring Apple being under, like Nasdaq, the only thing that we have that's not off a cliff is a Nasdaq that's ended above a 4 hour, which could easily start under, and then Apple, which could easily start under, and then everything is literally under everything. And we'll just have to kind of see what happens with stuff. So, you know, I think a lot of it depends where we start. If we could start too far down and then maybe something wants to come up to test, I think that's also very possible. Like, you know, it just depends. So like I said, I can go on and on and on. It's just not important because we already know what we want to look for, and now we just need action. Otherwise, we're just thinking about thoughts, and it doesn't really get me anywhere. So it's just content for streaming, and just kind of, I like going over what's kind of in my mind at the time. I like thinking, so even if sometimes it's just the sake to think. Anyway, I'm gonna head out. Thanks for staying tuned, Virex. Everybody else, I don't know if anyone else is in there. I know a lot of people joined a little bit of like an hour ago or so, but and then let me actually just see before I say peace out. What the heck is the SQQQ? Oh, thank you. Thank you for this. That is also, it's pretty much the short QQQ, I guess, in a sense, or something like that. Okay. SQQQ. Nice. What's the other one he was talking about? Is that the 3x lever? Is this a 3x? Let me see. I always like seeing these. What's the other one? TQQ is okay. So TQQ is up direction. Okay, so I'll add these anyway. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. I like this. It's technically better than SPY, I think, for most things, right? Because we're gonna have the most volatility. So I might consider these in the future if I'm ever considering messing with like instead of SPX, XPXU. What am I doing? But is there a 3x? That's what I want to know. We'll move them down here because it's not. Well, actually. Wait, what did he say? TQQQ's up? No way, TQQ. This has to be the. No way. Yeah, this has to be the up one. Because here's our August with our 26th drop and our September 13th drop. Dude, these look horrible. Now, technically, it still has a trend, so it's not horrible. For something like this, I'd still be worried if something like this started here. We'll see what happens with stuff. Likewise, this is just another thing that also looks horrible if we do start the day here. Any sort of pressure pushes it down, breaks this trend, and comes down horribly. I'm just so surprised to see this. Usually it doesn't look like this. Oh, no wonder it looks like this. Okay, what I was thinking is, when I saw this, I was like, Jesus Christ, this really has come down. What I was thinking is this was going to be like the inverse ones that like go all the way up to frickin' 2000 somehow and are all the way down here. Alright, I'm heading out, guys. I'll see you all tomorrow. See you all tomorrow at 9 ST. 15 minus 4. For another full market day. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, like I said, no one really wins. At best, we make a lot of money off of this, but the implications are, I don't know. It feels like at best we make money off this, and the social and political implications of this are like the currency implications are horrible. But let's hope we start above stuff. Let's hope that Bitcoin isn't going to be an indicator of the market to come. Let's hope the fact that it's set up doesn't bring in extra sells before the market opens. I don't know, to be honest. I almost don't care, but it's like I'd rather that stuff not be super bearish because I just feel like from a real life perspective, it just seems like it's much worse. It just seems like it's a lot worse for that to be the thing anyway. So anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow.